Mr. Ambassador, can you describe the slate of trade, investments? What are the interests of Iran regarding Brazil?
Very good. Let's say Iran and Brazil, they share a history of bilateral relationships for over 117 years old. Just in last year, we celebrated the 60th anniversary of the opening of Iranian embassy in Brasilia as the first embassy in the city, 60 years after 1960. So it's a long relations, and people have been in close contact together. Just in 2019, our trade turnover went up to 4.2 billion, with a good number. And this was both direct and indirect trade between the two countries. There are a lot of good areas. Our economies are complementarity in nature. What we produce is used in this market, petrochemical products, oil products. And what you produce, of course, is very important for our market. It's a foodstuff, agricultural products. But we need to diversify our economies. I know that Brazil, especially in recent decades and recent years, have progressed very good, tremendously in terms of pharmaceuticals, in terms of industries. We can do a lot of trade in other areas, and I'm exploring with my people, with delegates coming Iran, also with business people in Brazil. I'm exploring the new areas for cooperation between the business people. And for this reason, I very often come to São Paulo and to have meetings with businessmen here. In this city, actually, is the best place in Brazil for meeting business people and having discussions on how to explore and to move forward our good relations together.
And the fact that you were describing the relationship with Brazil, and I ask you, the fact that President Bolsonaro and President Trump were so close, did this jeopardize the relations?
I don't think so, because no two countries in the world, they have 100% everything in agreement. I myself and Iran looks at our bilateral relations through the window of mutual interest. So we look at our own interests. We don't look at the relations between Brazil with third countries. We might have some areas of disagreement, but there are huge areas of agreement between us. We can try to explore them. We can try to use them for the benefits of the two nations. And both nations were strongly hit by coronavirus, and it's time to recover from the damages that we suffered during 2020 especially. And there are a lot of areas to work together. I'm very optimistic, and the more I talk to Brazilian partners and Brazilian business people, politicians, members of Congress, and journalists, the more I'm optimistic that very good things are going to happen and are still happening.
Where is Iran getting the vaccines from?
Actually, we are trying to produce our own. We had already contacts with several nations. We are in close contact with China, with Russia, and also India. But we are also developing our own. There is a joint project with Cuba, and Cuba, I know, in terms of vaccines, is one of the developed nations. And we are developing a local vaccine together. And there are several projects, because there will not be just a few millions of vaccines. We need probably something like 200 millions. So we need to use all capacities in order to make sure that there will be enough vaccines for everybody.